Climate change, global warming is back on the political agenda. It's always been there, of course, as a matter of fact, but it's getting more attention now, perhaps as the immediate concerns over the financial crisis abate just a touch, and we're able to think more constructively about how governments get together and build international institutions that enable them collectively to resolve the climate change problem. It's true also that many governments are acting independently of a multilateral agreement, bringing through legislation that values carbon, finding ways of incentivizing their business to act in a way that makes them more resource efficient, and a number of places where decisions are being taken at the city and local level where, when aggregated, you can see signs of real progress. The UN Secretary General has called together heads of state and government to meet in New York during General Assembly Week in September to discuss climate change. A program has been arranged. Powerful people are going to be gathered in one place to discuss what they are going to do, to offer opportunity for encouragement, for peer group review of policies already underway, and an incentive for investors to gather to see what they can do to deploy capital in a wide range of solutions. Solutions that show great promise now, that cannot be seen simply as a defensive measure against the risk of climate change, but also as a means to profit from a transformation that we must make. So the gathering is useful for focusing effort, for concentrating power, and for encouraging actors of all types to make decisions in a different direction to cope with the scale and extent of the climate change problem. One of the purposes of this particular gathering in September is to get different voices around the table. So it's not simply state-to-state negotiations. That amongst the powerful forces in the room there are private actors, there are people representing civil society, and the idea is that the interaction between those forces produces a more creative outcome to the climate change problem than you could perhaps expect from an intergovernmental process. It's still essentially between states, but more than that now, it's understood that there are a range of actors that have to be engaged to solve a problem of this diversity and scale. And that's why this meeting the Secretary General has called in New York is designed to include other critical actors, including out of the investment community. This agreement will not look very much like the previous great breakthrough in international negotiations, which was the Kyoto Protocol. It is not going to be an international treaty that allocates quotas to countries. It's not going to be the kind of agreement that divides the world up artificially between developed and developing. It's going, I hope, to be a truly universal agreement with an objective that updates the science and policy from the original 1992 convention, so that the objective is clear to all participants what we need to do in order to be able to keep the climate as stable as possible for human survival and prosperity. Below that, there will be a set of principles about what governments can do in their own jurisdiction, which they will display through the contributions they make to the process. And then the middle section will be all about monitoring, compliance, and information, data, that will be displayed to show whether people are making progress, whether they're actually achieving something in furtherance of the objective. Now, I'd like that process to be as open as possible, because we are going to find out things that are not coming through government departments. We're going to find out because we've got very good data collection from private satellites, from Twitter feeds, from all sorts of ways in which we can determine what's actually going on in the real world. So I hope the process that emerges in 2015 is particularly strong on information and data and performance review so that we can keep track and measure progress.